I'm here today with
Jampa Thakchoe
and
Lani, Shiota.
This week we're convening contemplatives, neuroscientists, psychologists, practitioners, artists, all together around the topic of depolarization. So I'm wondering what brought you to this conference specifically, what drew you to be here at Sera Research Institute 2026?
I'm Jampa Thakchoe. I'm from Sera Monastery, Tibetan monastery, but I'm here in Emory University for 2-year studies. My life, it's kind of my inspiration institute, so that's why I applied. It's because they're really preaching and psychology and Western sides and Buddhist sides to collaborate together. So that's why I joined here.
I am Lani Shiota. I'm here from the Department of Psychology at Arizona State University, where I'm a professor, and the bulk of my research is on human emotion. And how that relates to emotion in other species and what it does for us is probably the best way to put it, what its functions are, thinking about that both from a broad evolutionary perspective and then also in the context of our relationships and our day-to-day lives. I was invited to be part of the faculty speaking this year because of that research, but I think what really drew me to this experience was the recognition of how powerful emotion is as a driver of polarization, and that being something that I'm seeing every day among friends, loved ones, on social media, in conversations, and how potent that is in the forces that have the potential to bring us together, but also the potential to pull us apart. So that was really exciting to have the opportunity to come here, share the understanding of research from my field that I can bring to this, but also see the research from other fields coming together on these issues, and then of course interrelating that with people's lived experience of these issues and the perspective of contemplative practice, which has long focused on how you manage these kinds of phenomena within a community.
I'm curious if there's anything that has surprised you over the past few days, whether it be an encounter, something that arose during meditation, because this is interwoven into the conference sessions as well, the day of silence.
One thing that I realized was that in the breakout session, they have a different type of problem situation they're sharing. I feel that this is not just for scientific research showing many who came for the emotion supports.
I think, yes, that's a lovely phrasing of it, and I've had the same reaction. I'm not sure that I would call it surprise, but I have noted that the issues that we're talking about here are issues on which we do research, and the research is relevant and important. They are also issues that people are wrestling with in their lives, and that can range from, yes, this is something in my environment around me that I'm aware of, to this is something that I deal with every day and has deeply impacted who I am and where I come from and how I see the world. And we have had some opportunities to bring those perspectives together and see how they come together so that they ideally would not feel separate, but that is a great deal of work. And I saw the glimmers of some beginnings of that here and would love to see more.
That ties into the last question I have for you both, which is, where do you see the field of contemplative science heading? What dreams do you have for it after this gathering, but just in years to come?
So we need the both from the Buddhist side or the spiritual practice side or the Western sides. We need to apply those essence or the wisdoms which we discuss in this institute, not only showing the proof. Let's move on. So what those researchers and scientists can, for example, they use the mindfulness, this affects to the participant. Now they can arrange some program or whatever on specific on that mindfulness to the people. We need to move on the future. And also from my point, so many psychologists, Western psychologists, they take the essence from the Buddhist, right? Buddhist mind training and those. These are really wonderful that to keep the bill on. Even also we Buddhists also the practitioner we need to reach out how the Western psychologists and the scientists doing those contributions. We can take those applications methods to try to apply much as possible to our own local communities. Yeah, that's I feel it's very important.
I think your answer is much more informed than mine about the state of contemplative science. I suppose what I would say is that it seems like contemplative science has addressed two ends of the spectrum of experience. One is what happens when you introduce people with no experience at all, often who are in fairly stable positions in society, because those are the people that it's fairly easy to include in research, and introduce them to mindfulness training or some other kind of contemplative practice. We have that work. We also have some work on very, very intensive, high investment forms of practice. In most cases, the research only follows people for a short period of time because it's very, very expensive and it's hard to get the funding. We need more funding. We need so much more funding. And I think that what is perhaps most needed when I look at these issues from a societal standpoint is the recognition that perhaps there is the most to be gained by reaching out to people for whom these ideas are the least accessible and who have the least bandwidth to become experts or to really sustain the lessons received during a brief initial training. And I don't know how we do that, but I do know that it is a problem we're facing throughout prevention science. The reality is that most of what it takes to change ourselves, to change how we engage with the world is very, very time intensive. And those who potentially could gain the most, be in the most need, have the least access and the least bandwidth in time and energy and money to do that engaging. So if we can figure out what works well within those contexts and meeting, we call it meeting people where they are. Yeah. Instead of expecting that they will be able to come to where we want them to be or we think they should be, meeting people where they are and saying, how can we help you where you are? That would be, I hope, a good investment.